Hi everyone, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. Hope you guys are keeping well. This is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S4. And I'm going to give you, in a sort of review format, why this tablet is better than the iPad Pro 2018. So the first thing we'll talk about is the screen. This is an OLED screen. The iPad Pro has an IPS screen. This also has a higher resolution, so being OLED, it's got deeper blacks. The next thing about this screen is the aspect ratio. What do you actually use most tablets for? What do most people use most tablets for? That is consuming media. This has the perfect aspect ratio for watching movies. Minimal black bars. Whereas if you take the iPad Pro here, it's a different aspect ratio and you get more black bars when you're watching various bits and pieces. So, already covered off, OLED screen, first reason. Higher PPI, second reason. Third reason, better aspect ratio as well. Next thing, which you can see attached, is the S Pen. And what Samsung have done, they provide this free of charge, so that's the next reason. No reason number 4 we've got to. They give you the S Pen at no cost. So, but this looks like a real pen, feels like a real pen, has a special button on the side here that you press, and it brings up, if you're used to using the S Pen, a whole menu of different options from screen writing, screen grabbing. It's just really more than just a handwriting thing. You can fully interact with it, like having your own sort of mouse. Very, very useful, and I do like that as well. The other thing, when you get this, when you get the S Pen, unlike the new Apple Pencil, it does have spare nibs. So another reason, right? So another reason why this is actually better than the iPad Pro. Next thing this has, if I find here, it actually has where are we? Here we go. A headphone jack. Whoa! And not only does it have a headphone jack, it has Dolby Atmos. So you can get really, really good audio, and you can use obviously the headphone jack for a number of different things. But you know, Apple, where's your headphone jack? Absolutely no reason on the size of an iPad Pro not to have a headphone jack. And you know, if I look here, you know, on the iPad, there's just the USBC connector and speaker grills. There is no, you know, there's no connection there. So that's really disappointing. Now, this does have a secure iris face unlock system, so it's got all that. So you've got that there as well, and it also has a USB Type-C connection. But the beauty there is, here's a Samsung T5. This is a portable SSD, and when you plug this into here, like so, and then you go to the file manager, like so, if you open it, it just appears, so you can see that, whoops, it just appears, you know, with everything on the display, as a proper USB storage. No problem at all, and I can just unmount that, so, and so you can not only connect portable SSDs, you can, which is a file, you know, for file side of things, you can connect everything that's got USB-C, and it pretty much works out of the box. And that's what the iPad Pro doesn't have. It has a crippled USB-C connector. So yes, with the iPad you can plug in your camera and read pictures off your camera, but that's about it at the moment. There's a few other little things you can do, but with this you can plug DACs in, USB mouses, keyboards, the list goes on, monitors, you know, but it's just a more versatile USBC. It's not crippled and it works really well. The next aspect is it actually has a file manager, a proper file management system that the iPad Pro doesn't. Can you see how many reasons we're going up to? Yet the biggest one is still to come. There's a really big one I haven't got to yet, and it's not what we think. A really big reason why this is better than the iPad Pro. So the next reason is that you do have the ability to do split screen apps. So if I put YouTube up here, and if I put, let's just put photos, like so, and you can go split screen really quite easily, no problem at all. And then obviously you can adjust the size, so you can have one bigger than the other, one side smaller, or vice versa. And then you can go full screen, no problem. Works really well. And you can use your S Pen at any point in time that you want to work this. It all works really well. They have, so it has Dolby Atmos, it has AKG tuned speakers, so you get really nice sound from this. So if I give you an idea of what that sound is, I shall just call up a track to give you an idea. This is from the YouTube audio free music. So let's do this and put the volume up. It's pretty good. But say you want to hear some voice, here is some voice, just to give you an up. This is the hang on, that's just slipped there. Let's just go back and play that.
Adventures. Divided there is little we care. Society, detriments of war, bring those problems and the peace preserved.
So it doesn't matter, you know, from an audio perspective, it's really good. It does have a powerful processor. Now you might say, well, the iPad Pro's got the best, most powerful processor in the world. Yeah, it does, but there aren't any apps that use it. So what's the point? This has a very powerful processor, and it also has 64 base storage, which is excellent. And that's really enough for most people. But what if it isn't? What if you do need more? Well, this has something called a micro SD slot. So you can put storage cards in. I've got a 256 Samsung micro SD card in here. And I actually had that lying around, so that didn't actually cost me anything extra to include that. That's pretty good. Whereas if you have your iPad, you're left with the situation that you either have 64 gig, which is cutting it fine, or you have to jump all the way to 256 gig and pay a lot of extra money. And that's my next point. And I think that the ultimate thing, the reason why this is a killer product. But before I get to that last reason, there is something else this machine does, and it's called Samsung DeX. So it does many other things. I can assure you that I'm only telling you some of the key things. There's a lot of other reasons, but here we're going into Samsung DeX. And you know what? This thing is really good. And there we are, desktop environment. And you can put this onto your TV, your monitor, and just this thing powers this. And you've got, you know, and you can use your, it's ridiculous. So let me just flick up a couple of apps here, just to show some of the things that you can do. And let me just close down a few things. Let's go to here. So, and then let's just put so here I've just had a couple of apps, but you can move them around. So if I grab it here, you can move apps around as you like. And you have many different apps up, and you can minimize them, but you have a desktop experience. You know, the iPad Pro uses Safari, and it's not a desktop browser, whereas on here you can get that experience in a much more of a desktop browsing experience, much more ahead of the Safari side. That's a lot of tablet, and I've only touched on some of the features here, but the biggest one's the price difference. This is sort of £400 to £500 cheaper than the iPad Pro. So I've got a memory card is anything from 20 quid, from 5 quid, 10 quid, 20 quid, 40 quid if you want a 200 gig plus micro SD card. Samsung are offering some fabulous deals on this, where they're throwing a case, giving you a half price keyboard. All the things for this are cheaper. The machine is cheaper, and it's about £400 less. And depending on the configuration you need on your iPad Pro, it could be a bit more. They can include the S Pen. They don't charge you £119 for the pen. The Apple Pencil is £119. This is included. It's got tons more functionality. So really guys, this iPad, the Tab S4 is a killer device, and I've given you all the reasons why it's better than the iPad Pro 2018. It does everything really well, and a few compromises, I'll be honest. Some of the apps aren't perfectly designed for a tablet, but then if you put them into split screen mode, or if you use Samsung Decks, you can draw them to the correct size and it's not an issue. But it saves so much money, and it still does an awful lot. Anyway, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. Keep well guys, and just out of interest, I would love you to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. I'm really trying to grow this channel, so please do that. And this whole video was filmed on the new DJI Osmo Pocket. I wanted to see how it would work. I've got it clamped with a special attachment onto my tripod, and it's looking good. Anyway, catch you guys soon. Bye for now.